pleasant good morning to everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. New month, July the 1st, first day of July. Here's what's the guest menu, what's coming up here on the Carlos Brown Show. Of course, we'll be joined by guest co-host Charles Edmond. Also in hour number one, the former All-American quarterback, now coaching at Southern University, Coach Willie Totten, the quarterback's coach. He'll join us in hour number one, scheduled right after our first break. Following Coach Totten, Kris Davis, um, Southern University defensive back, cornerback. He'll join us at the bottom of hour number one. Kris Davis is looking forward to a big, big season. Then in hour number two, Gerald J Huggins will join the show for the first time. And boy, looking at his bio, it's true. It's tremendous to say the least. He'll join us on the show, and I'll give you more information on Gerald J Huggins. Impressive resume and bio. And then last but not least, we'll visit with Jean Lee Batrus. Now, who is she? She is the executive director of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Players Association, and also the Youth Development Foundation that's part of MLB and MLBPA. That's Major League Baseball, Major League Baseball Players Association. Now, they're putting on a very good event coming up on July 7th, the HBCU Swingman Classic. It's going to be during All-Star Week, and it will be in Seattle, July 7th. So she will join us on today's show. We introduce now Charles Edmond. Charles, good morning to you. Welcome once again.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. And we are in the first day of July, and the countdown is on. 17 days until SWAC Football Media Day. I can't wait.
Well, a lot to talk about as far as SWAC Media Day, but when you look at it, it kind of signifies, I'll let you know that, hey, college football is on its way. And as we talked on this show several times, numerous times, football, no matter what sport, football, basketball, student athletes train all year round. But when SWAC Football Media Day gets closer, it signifies, hey, fall camp is right around the corner. So with that said, here's what's trending on the Carlos Brown Show. The United States Supreme Court may dismantle affirmative action, and that is a huge thing. I'm not surprised because of the makeup of the court, Supreme Court. Charles, I'm not surprised that the ruling came down, but I look at it like this now. It's an opportunity for HBCUs to increase enrollment, but also presently a lot of the HBCUs will have to update their infrastructure to accommodate, in my opinion, an uptick in enrollment. And so, although this has happened, look at it as an opportunity for HBCUs to really take advantage of this. And I've often said that we've got to make sure HBCUs are still viable and relevant 1,000 years from now. Of course, Charles, me and you won't be here, but it's still important. It is an important mission. Now, more than ever, HBCUs are relevant and are needed. So, administrators, athletic directors, and thinking about that, Charles, yesterday, even from an athletic standpoint, maybe, just maybe now, student athletes, African Americans will look at HBCUs in a different light because of the Supreme Court decision. Come on home. Come back home. That's the way I look at it. Also, Division I Council proposes changes to membership requirements. If you want to leave FCS or you want to upgrade to FBS, there are certain things that you're going to have to do. to be able to transition to that move. That's what's trending on the Carlos Brown show. But Charles, affirmative action, Supreme Court, they've made their decision. Now the ball is in HBCUs and African American people. The ball is in our court now. What will we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think clearly it's sending a message that, as far as, and you talked about infrastructure, and it's something I deal with on a daily basis at Alcorn. It's always a topic of conversation. It's a topic of conversation about HBCUs. Remember, a few years ago with the pandemic, there was a downtick in enrollment, and the
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure was loosened a little bit because you had enough capacity. But now, what you're going to see in the future is, I think, a tremendous uptick. And let's just be honest, infrastructure improvements and upgrades don't come quickly.
No, but you got to do it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to do it. I'm not
yeah,
debating it needs to be done, but I'm just talking about the speed of which it needs to be done. And there needs to be conversations had in terms of having to get with our legislative leaders, our administrators, to try to make sure that there's an increase in speed on getting some of these projects done in terms of new dormitories and just improving the infrastructure all around, because it's something now that we'll have to deal with. You kind of felt like that, and that's a good thing actually, because more enrollment means what? More money for the universities, and it trickles down, more money for athletics. So again, you have to be able to accommodate the infrastructure as it happens, as enrollment increases. It's a good thing, and let's see if we can get things up to speed, get things done a little bit quicker pace to where we can accommodate the uptick in enrollment for our schools. And I think that's a good thing. If you love HBCUs, you love to see this, and hopefully we can accommodate it.
yeah. I'm going to go into my messenger, and a Southern alum text me, and I'm just going to read my answer back. The question was about affirmative action, and he said, "Are you going to have that as a topic?" And I said, basically, I'm going to mention it. Um, but this Supreme Court is political, and it is. I knew that it would dismantle affirmative action. However, it's an opportunity for HBCUs to reach out to African American and other ethnic students to see what academic opportunities HBCUs have to offer. With that said, our institutions will have to update their curriculum facilities to handle, I believe, the uptick in upcoming and higher enrollments. We don't have the infrastructure in place right now to accommodate an increasing enrollment. I will mention this on the show tomorrow. And, you know, that's just, how my opinion on everything. It's again an opportunity
Yeah.
to make it right. And, administrators, my advice to them would be still be transparent, communicate with alums. And by the way, alums, this is a time now. We've always talked about giving back and helping, financially. Now more than ever, our institutions need us. They really do. And so, administrators, be transparent. If there are problems, let your alums and supporters know. You control the narrative, because when you don't, then speculation happens. People can still give their opinions, but once again, I think it's an excellent opportunity. And no, it won't happen overnight, but strategically, a long-term plan, short-term plans. What can you do now? But as alums, we've got to help and give back. Need us more than ever. And then another thing, Charles, we as a people, we're strong. Look at the situations that we've had to go through. You know, Jim Crow. Politically you're attacked. Financially you're attacked. And by the way, HBCUs are owed millions, billions of dollars that they haven't got from the state. So when you mention, you know, uh, coming and getting help from maybe the legislative black caucuses in each state from a national standpoint. We're going to need everybody to pitch in. But we're strong people. And in spite of every roadblock that's been put in front of us as a people, we've overcome that. And so it's in our DNA. We're strong. We just got to make sure we stay together and fight this. But yeah, that political, that Supreme Court is political. And if they say they're supposed to be objective. Okay. Enough of that, Charles. I could go on, but I don't want to turn it into a political show.
Yeah.
But you know, opportunity, take advantage of it. HBCUs.
Well, and on another note, kind of pertaining to colleges and universities and students, what about the student loan forgiveness? That was a part of the Supreme Court's decision too. The student loan forgiveness program, that's going to have an impact. So I mean, you hate to tie one to the other, but unfortunately, that's just the world that we're in. Politics are in our day. You talk about being in our DNA. Politics is in our DNA. Just about everything is political now. You have to look at, college president selections, AD selections. I mean, look at the number of schools that are looking for a president right now. Jackson State, Alcorn, I think Bethune-Cookman, Prairie View's president, Dr. Simmons stepped down. I mean, they're getting back there. So all these things have to be put in play. And you talk about the infrastructure, what needs to be done now with affirmative action. What will help with that is stable leadership and getting permanent presidents in place to be able to get the ball rolling with that. So there's a lot of moving pieces to this whole wheel that we talk about, and it starts at the top. So hopefully we can get those folks in place so we can continue to get the ball rolling. Southern just hired a president chancellor recently, so it's going to be an interesting dynamic for sure.
Got to have good leadership and got to be held accountable. Hold them accountable. And it's a multifaceted problem, and it will take multifaceted solutions. We're going to take a quick time out. Coach Totten is already in waiting. We'll visit with Coach Willie Totten, Southern University quarterback coach. When we come back, you're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Charles, during the break, just got some breaking news, although we will visit with Coach Pettaway hopefully next week. He was on vacation. Today, NBA free agency has started, and during the break, I just kind of got a text, an update that Damon Lillard has requested a trade. And that's courtesy of NBA TV. And his two preferred destinations, Miami Heat and Brooklyn. And that's going to be interesting because you see a lot of movement and a lot of pieces have happened already. But, in free agency, most of the people that opt out of their contracts, they usually stay with their organization, their team. And you kind of have seen that already. But then you have a couple of surprising moves that like Brown out of Denver. He took a nice, significant pay raise, and now he's with the Indiana Pacers. Miami Heat lost Max Strauss and Gabe Vincent. So that's the breaking news. But let me do this. Coach Totten is waiting. So let me introduce to you Coach Willie Totten. Hey, actually, I don't know if he needs an introduction. Outstanding quarterback at Mississippi Valley State, now coaching, and it's going to be interesting to pick his brain, get his perspective on everything. Coach Totten, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Carlos. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. You're looking good. I'm sure you have a busy weekend ahead, so we appreciate the time.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the opportunity. I know we've been trying to make this happen for a while. I've been pretty busy since I've been on the bluff, and now I'm here for my family reunion also. But my word is my word, and I gave you my word that I'll be on the show, and I'm excited to let you guys know what I'm thinking about.
Very, very good. So with that being said, and there's nothing like family, Coach Totten, nothing like family.
Right.
Your days, of course, and I'm sure you've been asked this millions of times. Your career in Mississippi Valley State as a quarterback, throwing to some guy named Jerry Rice, and not just Jerry Rice, but other receivers as well. In this conference, you've seen it all. What is the difference you think now in the conference compared to when you played as a student athlete in the conference at Mississippi Valley State?
I guess one of the things I see different is really back when we were throwing the football, there were very, very few teams that was doing that. We seen and Willie with his brilliant mind with the spread offense and 5 receivers. I think that's the difference now. Everybody's doing it. I think when you got the athletes that you can put on the field and you can create a lot of mismatches. A lot of coaches are, football is nothing but a copycat sport. So it worked then. Now coaches are using it, and now it's working now. So I think that's the difference. When we ran the offense, we pretty much were the only team that was doing just a spread offense, but now everybody's doing it.
Charles, he's absolutely right. Everybody. And Coach Totten, we've had discussions off the record, but we'll bring it on the record. The quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
You played the position. What are some of the things or characteristics that a quarterback has to have in Coach Totten's room? Some of the things that you look at.
Well, first, he has to be a student of the game. He has to be a person who want to study film. He want to be a person who want to be good. And another thing is character. I think you have to have great character in order to play the position, because we know that the position not for everybody. Everybody want to play quarterback, but everybody can't play quarterback. And I tell those guys in the leadership, you're a leader whether you want to be a leader or not. It's just because of the demand of the position. And those are the things. And plus, you have to have the athletic ability to be able to perform and be able to throw the football like we would like you to. And that comes from recruiting. I mean, you go out and recruit the kid that you're looking for. And hopefully some of those things that's what you look for in them. If you don't, we got to develop it. And that's what I try to do. But if you don't want to watch film and you don't want to be a gym rat, it's kind of hard to play quarterback at this level now because everybody's good. Defensive disguising, they give you a different look, and you have to be a gym rat.
Coach Totten, so are you saying it's more of a balance? I mean, the athletic ability, we know about that, mental ability, the preparation, and then able to study. Though you have to have a balance of those three, correct?
I think so. I think if you have a lot of quarterbacks who can play the game, but they can't think the game. And now is thinking. You have to be able to manage the offense. You have to be able to manage the guys around you. You on that field, it's just like you are a coach. If you don't prepare, you won't be ready. A lot of times guys try to use their athletic ability to try to get over, but that used to be good. You used to could do that, but now you can't. It's hard to do that now. You have to study your opponent. You have to know your opponent, and the only way you're going to do that, you got to study them. And now, if a quarterback is not prepared to do that, he's going to have a hard time because every week you have a scouting report. Teams are scouting you. They know your strengths and they know your weaknesses, and you have to be prepared to counter that. So I think it's going more to the mental part than the physical part.
And Charles, it's interesting. Me and you have had a discussion, and we'll ask Coach Totten what he thinks about him. Dual threat quarterbacks. Coach Totten, my definition is that a dual threat quarterback can do both equally well, his athleticism and also make all of the throws. But then you have quarterbacks that are more athletic or an athlete playing at quarterback. What is your definition, Coach Totten, of a dual threat quarterback?
I think a dual threat quarterback is great. It's good to have one. But I like that quarterback who can sit in that pocket though and throw the football because now you have defenses that guys that can run, and I need a quarterback to run when he need to, but not run just to be running. And I think a lot of time a dual threat quarterback, if it's not there, he'll pull it down and run, and instead of taking the extra time to read the coverage and throw. And that's what I try to develop in my quarterbacks. And dual threat quarterback is good, but I like a dual threat quarterback that want to throw instead of run.
Hey, I'd say let the church say amen, Charles. I've been saying you got to be able to make all of the throws. Throw first, run second, not run first, and then just forget about throwing. But Charles, I'm sure you have a question or two for her.
I am so happy for Coach Totten. I am so happy for Coach Totten because every time I make a trip to Mississippi Valley, I hear Coach Totten's name, and I'm just waiting for Coach Totten to be in a position where he can do what he does, which is coach quarterbacks. Talk a little bit about just getting that call from Coach Dooley. You've been around this league a long time. I have a poster in my office, Coach Totten, that's been blown up, an aerial shot of Veterans Memorial Stadium back in the 80s when Alcorn played Valley. And they said that was the largest crowd in the history of Memorial Stadium. There's an aerial shot of it. I have a poster of that. Just talk about getting an opportunity to do what you've been waiting for, to get on the sidelines, to coach quarterbacks, albeit not at your alma mater, Mississippi Valley, but being a part of the SWAC and Southern University.
I tell you, it's great, that you're talking about that area shot of that stadium. I have that shot as well. When football is fun. I mean, that's why you have to always, you know, be true to the game, and try to perfect your craft. And I've been a head coach, I've been offensive coordinator, I've coached quarterbacks at other schools, and I also coached the running back. So to have the experience at coaching the position, it's always good to be able to do that. But when Coach Dooley called me, Coach and I, we have always talked, and I have always admired his offense, because I'm a pass-oriented guy myself. When I was a coordinator, I like to throw the football. When I had Aries Nelson and Tyrone Timmons, those guys, they were pretty good. And Coach Dooley, with his wisdom and his knowledge of the passing game, it was almost like a dream come true. I try, and people ask me all the time, you've been a head coach, and why would you want to go back and be a position coach? But I've been a student of the game, and you always want to learn. And when I was at Alabama A&M, I coached the quarterbacks and the running backs. But now, and when I was at offensive coordinator at Clark, I coached the quarterbacks as well. But now to be a part of a system like what Coach Dooley has is almost like give you goosebumps, because that he's doing. There's a lot of things that I did when I was a coordinator, so it just kind of fit. I mean, when Coach Dooley called me, it was no brainer for me. I was coaching. I was an assistant head coach, and I was an offensive coordinator at Minnesota North up in Minnesota, Ely, Minnesota. And I know when Coach called me, that I tell you what, that cold weather helped make that decision.
Yeah.
I've been to Minnesota, Coach. I agree with you on that. That cold weather up there is nothing nice.
Man, I tell you, it was cold in the summertime, so it was great. I think it's almost like a match made in heaven. Coach called me, and we talked about football, and we had talked before then, talk about just matching wits with each other, talking about offense, giving some ideas on some things that I like to do, and I was kind of picking his brain about some things that he liked to do as well. And that, I think when the opportunity presented itself, I think it was perfect timing. I was looking to and hoping to leave Minnesota, and when I got that call, it was timing perfect. So I'm excited of being on the Bluff. I'm excited of working with Coach Dooley, and we already have started matching with. We already put some stuff in that people are going to see different this year. So I'm thrilled to wait to see how it's going to materialize, and hopefully it's going to be good for us.
Well, Charles, that leads me into this. Talking about some things implemented already. The quarterback room. We've talked about what characteristics that you look at in determining your quarterbacks. But now, Coach Totten, can we just talk about the quarterback room at Southern University? I think there's a lot of talent, and a lot of people have thought about the position of quarterback. So, if you can speak on the quarterback room and what talent and characteristics is in that room for you.
Well, I'm excited. When I first stepped on campus back in March, Coach told me, he said, "Coach, you have a good room. You have a good room of guys who really want to learn, who guys who have the ability to be great. Just need to put that touch on it." So when I first met the guys in the room, I felt real good about them. We have a lot of inexperience in the room, guys who have had playing time, but not a lot of playing time. So that was challenging, and I knew that was going to be challenging for me when I first stepped in the room. And guys are eager to learn, and just like I told them when I first got there, I'm not a big guy talking about myself, and I just tell you, Google me. And I told the guys to go and Google me, and and whatever they see, that's what they see. So they were pretty pleased with what they read on the internet about myself, and they knew they had a guy in the room that was going to get them to the next level, and that's what I tell them. I said, look, man, I'm here to. I coach the position. I coach the quarterback position. I don't coach individuals. I coach the quarterback position. If you playing quarterback, you're going to know everything about the position. And that's the way I approached it. I have always approached it that way. But I feel real good about the guys in the room. I feel good about the two new guys that we have, the two freshman guys that we have also. I'm excited to wait to see those guys perform in the fall. But I think the three guys that we started out with four in the room in the spring. I think Blood, I think is definitely going to be a good one. I think Noah is also going to be a good one, and we got Dylan. It's going to be a good one. Kris kind of was in the spring. Kris Tucker was with us in the spring, but Kris kind of fell off a little, came up a little short academically. So we end up with three guys that coming out of the spring with me, and I kind of had an opportunity to view those guys, kind of study those guys, and know what I need to do to get those guys to the next level and get those guys better and get those guys ready to play. So each guy bring a different flavor. Each guy bring a different style to the game. And like I told Coach Dooley, we'll have two quarterbacks I know ready to play in the fall. And that third guy, I'll be ready to go if his name is called. But right now, we still in that early process of making sure they understand how to play the position first. I know you can throw. I know you understand, but I want you to understand how to play the position in terms of ball placement, timing routes, knowing when to get the ball out, when to step up, when to run, when not to run. Those are the things that we're doing right now.
Coach, I had a question for you in terms of the quarterback rooms. We've seen this throughout the league in terms of how many quarterbacks. You know, you've heard the old saying that if you got three quarterbacks, that means you don't have one. You know, last year there was a team in this league that had six quarterbacks on the roster. In terms of quality and quantity, you know, I know back in the day probably was a couple. You know, back in the Steve McNair era, you had two. What's an optimum number? Can you have too many quarterbacks on the roster? Because teams are looking all over the country looking for quarterbacks. I mean, you can have 3, 4, 5. For you, what is an optimum number for your quarterback room, or is there an optimum number?
I think it all depends on the head coach. I mean, if the head coach like a lot of quarterbacks, I think it starts there. But we have right now we have 5 guys in the room. I think 5 guys is enough to get ready for a season because a lot goes on. You know, want to throw the football, you're throwing the football a lot. I think you need those arms, especially during training camp, where you just don't wear a guy out during training camp, but you want to give everybody equal opportunity to show what they can do. But, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to have to come down and make a decision on one guy who's really going to be getting most of the snaps when the season starts. So I don't really have a number, but I know you can't go in the game with one. If you go one quarterback, I think you setting yourself up for failure because anything can happen. Helmet can come off. Guy come out of the game for a play. You got a guy who's not prepared go in and fumble the football or throw an interception, depending on what you're looking for. But the game is so competitive now. You want that room to be competitive. You don't want a guy to just feel that he has it made and not going to prepare. I think when you got a competitive room, that means every day guys are preparing to because you can lose the job at any time. So I think when you got 3 or 4 good quarterbacks in the room and you pushing, everybody is pushing each other to play, I think that's what keeps their quarterback sharp.
You know, and that's interesting because, you know, we've talked before over the years, competition, great thing. I agree. You need to have competition. And a lot of coaches, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Coach Totten, they have an idea who are going to be stars, but you want that competition. The number two, the backup, no matter what position, that is a battle that you like to see as far as competition in camp as well. Because as you stated, you're injury away. Something could happen. I think you told me weeks ago that you one game and lost two or
Four,
three, four. My goodness, four quarterbacks.
four quarterbacks. I'll never forget it. We played, and either guy got knocked out with a concussion. We had guys get knocked out with a concussion. We had one to come in and hurt his knee, and then the other guy came and twisted his ankle. So we were down to our fifth quarterback. That's very rare that happens, but it can happen. So, and I always fall back on that, and I always use that as an example. So you have to get guys ready to play. If you got quality quarterbacks and guys that can play, they just wait their opportunity to play, and that's what you want. And then you don't have to worry about a guy. No matter time kids, they mess up. They know you're gonna play them regardless because they don't have anybody else. But when you got guys in the room that is competitive and guys who want to play, now you have a tendency to keep that guy who's a starter on his toes.
Well, someone has already texted me about the opportunity. So fall camp, as far as quarterback, after fall camp, we'll decide who will come out of the room number one. That's what they wanted to know.
Pretty much. I mean, if I had to say now, I think there's no doubt. I think Blood really has an edge right now. Just from his evaluation from the spring. I evaluate the guys every day. And also I gave him a grade after the spring. So if I had to say that Blood would be probably the leading guy going into camp, but I tell you, Noah and also Dylan having a great. They had a great camp too. It wasn't that far apart in terms of the grade, and also I'm excited to see what these two young guys can do. The key to those two young guys, though, coming in learning the system. The system is not hard, but it's a fast system. You're not coming in, you're not prepared or used to the up tempo and the fast tempo that we play. It could be a little difficult, but those guys they have talent. I'm excited to work with those guys and see what they got, and I'm just excited for camp. I mean, excited coming out of spring. I felt we got quarterbacks that can lead us to a championship, and that's what you have to have. I told Coach Dooley when we came out of spring, I said, I will have these guys ready to play come September when we play Alabama State. But it's a process. We all know it's a process, and the guys are engaged in that. They taking coaching. And that's what you want going into the spring. You have an idea of where you're going, but the fall really going to determine exactly where you're going, because you can have guys who can step up. Noah can very easily step up and push Blood out of the way. Same thing with Dylan. Dylan can do the exact same thing, but it's a mindset. Guys who are prepared, guys who work over the summer. The summer is going to be very important. Those guys working summer. I got all those three of those guys are there working during the summer now, because they know when the fall comes, it's going to be competitive. Because we want to. Last year, the Southern, they finished second in total offense. We want to finish first in total offense, and that's going to be because we're going to have a quarterback who know exactly what he's doing, where he's going with the football, and getting it to the playmakers.
Well, that being said, Coach Totten, it sounds like to me, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the freshmen will have an opportunity to compete for the number one spot. Correct?
There's no doubt. I mean, that's the way Coach Dooley told me. He said, Coach, he said, look, I'm I know about quarterbacks, but I hired you as the quarterback coach. I'm gonna get out of the way. I have confidence in you, and you're gonna decide, and you're gonna help me decide who's gonna be the quarterback. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to who Coach Dooley want to play, and we're gonna do it on a grading system. We will have a grade for each guy, so now they can know and they exactly where they are and what they're doing. So yeah, we're gonna play the best football player. We're gonna whoever if he's a freshman or senior or junior, it doesn't matter. We're gonna play the best because, like I say, I coach the position. I don't coach the individual. I coach the position. If you're the best quarterback in that position, you will be the best quarterback. You will be the quarterback that's going to play.
On that note, Coach Totten, we appreciate the time. I didn't know how long we would talk, but I know I'm long-winded, and I think Charles will agree with that. And we'll let you get ready to enjoy your family activities. What do you think you're going to eat, Coach Totten? Everything, or you have some favorites?
Brother, they firing up the grill right now, so whatever they got on the grill, I'm ready for it. So I try to hold it down for the during this time anyway. You don't want to eat too much, so you can be ready for the following week. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see my brothers and sisters and my nieces and nephews, and just have that camaraderie and have that fun.
On that note, we appreciate the time, Coach Todd, and go enjoy yourself. Thanks for coming on the Carlos Brown Show. And that was Coach Todd. Interesting. If you like the interview, you can, of course, comment. Let me know in the chat room. And also like Black College Sports Network and the Carlos Brown Show. Our next guest has been patiently waiting. So we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll visit with Southern University cornerback Kris Davis. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden & Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden & Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden & Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Charles, I don't think you could control yourself if you would have been in that atmosphere.
Oh my God!
Oh man! Hey,
I hate it. And you know what? Grambling is playing LSU. So,
yeah.
I have another crack. I won't be able to make it, but man, to be amongst the 102,000 that was there, and it looked like it was 100,000 plus there. I mean, that was absolutely awesome. You know, to at least see that. I mean, we all know what happened as far as the game is concerned, but just the atmosphere, you know, that's something that you just can't beat.
Well, we're going to bring up now our next guest who played in that atmosphere last year. Cornerback Kris Davis joins us on the show. Kris, still morning time. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the Carlos Brown Show.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. Charles was just talking about it. And by the way, Kris, he calls the games for Alcorn State University. He's a Grambling graduate. So we're just going to get that out of the way. And we know Grambling's playing LSU this year. But talk about that atmosphere. You played in it, and you did very well at that football game.
Sure did. That experience is crazy, man. It's like no other in that environment. Death Valley, man. I was running out there. I was getting chill bumps as I'm walking out of there, man. It was wild. The crowd's going nuts, man. That's what I dreamed for growing up, man. Being in that environment. So it's crazy that it came true, and it was just so real, man.
Yeah, and Kris, another game that I believe will give you chill bumps. That's you pick six in the Bayou Classic there, and talk about that play. I mean, you've had several pick six last year.
Like I said earlier, man, it was a crazy experience, man. Like I said, it's a dream. Like it's a dream to just make a play like that when the game on the line. You know what I'm saying? It just put that nail in the coffin. It's crazy. I just looked up. I'm in the Saints field, so it's just crazy, man. Like I said, like I dream for players like that. I manifest all the time, and for it to come like that, it's crazy, man.
Well, you know, you also have teammates on that side of the ball. The guys up front, you know, you lost, of course, Dumas, but you have Taj Brown coming back. This defense you were part of finished second in the conference. Talk about your teammates and getting that pressure up front that helps out the back end of the defense. And you guys going into this 2023 football season, also talk about the defense and what you guys are hoping to achieve.
A lot of people don't realize that, but like, man, the defensive line helped us tremendously. You know what I'm saying? The pressure that they give, it allows the DBs the cover. It don't allow the quarterback to just stay in the pocket all day. It creates them to try to force passes, and that allow us to, you know what I'm saying, to make the play. So, you know what I'm saying, those guys up front, those guys really helped us out big time. As far as this year, I feel like it was going to be the same thing. We got some pretty good guys up there. You know what I'm saying? We got Gilman's coming back. Like you said, Taj Brown coming back. We got a few transfers. There's going to be some dogs up there. as far as the DB room, we looking good. Like I said, we got a lot of vets coming back. Jordan Carter gonna be back there. Rodney Johnson, Demetri Marcel. He didn't get a chance to play last year, but he's transferred from Bowie State, All-American. He's a great guy to be around. So, you know what I'm saying? We've been playing together. We just look good. Like I said, we flying around, making plays. Been in the system for a year now. You know what I'm saying? You can tell. So I feel like this year we're gonna be real good. The linebacker room got Derek Williams. What's his name?
Oh no, I understand Derek Williams. You know, and I do that as well. I'm trying to think of it's another linebacker, and then of course you had some that came in via the transfer portal. And as I stated, this defense played well. I mean, they were second in the conference behind Jackson State. But you mentioned Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, intriguing. Bowie State, Jordan's Carter teammate.
Yes.
What? Well, I know he was kind of, dealing with some injuries. Talk about him as a I know an athlete, but from a personal standpoint, what did he bring to the DB room?
His IQ. He's a great player. Like I said, his IQ. He really know the game. He's been around the game a long time, so I feel like that's a big part of his game. His versatility. He got good footwork. And he's also a ball hawk. So he can always make a play on the ball, and that's always what you want as a cornerback, a DB, anyways. You know what I'm saying, to be a ball hawk. So he's a great player. I feel like he's gonna make some big plays for us this year.
Charles, jump right in there, sir.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed about Southern's defense, it just seemed to get better as the year went on. That Bayou Classic game was the one that just sold it for me. I'm a Grambling grad, of course, but your defense in the second half really, just when Grambling had a little momentum, your defense stepped up. What's the one thing that you learned about last season? You played for the championship, came up short, and then try to get over the hump this year. What were some lessons learned and some things that you can improve upon as your team ggets ready for the upcoming season?
Like you said, it took a little minute for us to get in our groove. I feel like if we hit the home run first, right off the bat, I feel like we should be good because, you always need that confidence and that momentum leading up to the end of the year. And that's, that's important, especially when we start getting into the SWAT play on our side of the division.
Charles and Kris, during the season, you got to overcome adversity, and talk about, some of the opponents. Were there certain teams you had to prepare for more, in your opinion, or did you take every week the same preparation to when you went against other teams? Or was there one team that kind of stood out more when you were doing your preparation looking at film?
Nah. Every team, we evaluate the same way. We don't take no teams, It's like every week we watch film, We look at the pros and cons of what they can do, So like I said, every week we make sure we study our opponent and we don't take nobody for light.
Yes. Playing for the defensive coordinator, Coach Miller, how's that working with him? And we see him, just from the professional standpoint on the field, but off the field, as far as the person he is, how is it? How is he?
I love him, man. He like a second father to me. He take us in. He do different stuff for us off the field. On the field, like he's really aggressive. He's an aggressive play caller. He love to blitz. He love to play man. I love it about him. And that's how I am. I got that same personality. I want to be able to get in your face and be aggressive with you. So
interesting. You had a great season last year, but every time I bring on a student athlete, I ask them this question: what do you feel like you can improve on coming on into this year? And then I'll follow up with summer conditioning, because that's important, and it's an all year situation as far as that. But what do you think you can improve on this upcoming season?
Honestly, I want to be able to improve on my leadership. I want to be more vocal. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a big step for me because I'm not really a big speaker. I like to lead by example. So I feel like me taking that big step and being more vocal, you know what I'm saying, talking to my teammates, letting them know how I feel, I feel like should be a big step for me this year. That's what I'm really trying to work on.
Very interesting. Very interesting answer. As we close, and we appreciate the time you coming on. Who is someone that the Jaguar Nation maybe doesn't know about that is going to be on the team, whether it's in the DB room or on the defensive offense? Give us a person, a student athlete that we should not be surprised that will have an impact coming up for the 2023 football season, in your opinion.
One of the teammates I feel like that's gonna have a pretty good season is Harold Blood, quarterback. Me and him came together. We spent time on the bench together, you know what I'm saying, learning, growing, being like a sponge. That's also my fraternity brother too as well, my roommate. Obviously, he played quarterback, I played DB, so we have a lot of conversations together, you know what I'm saying?
Competition too, I bet.
A lot of competition, a lot of trash talk. We really get out there, and I feel like that only makes us better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can ask him what the quarterback thinking in his head during this play, and he come up to me and be like, "Hey, what you was doing in this play? Like how would you play this?" So you know what I'm saying? We just be picking each other brains. I feel like that's what it's all about. And I feel like this year he's gonna really set himself apart. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
That's gonna be interesting. Now you see the other guy that you're talking to. Now you'll be at the reservation in Lorman this year. Make sure he gets you for a pregame interview. And oh boy, going to Alcorn the first time in a couple of years, that's always an interesting trip. Have you been there in your career so far?
Yes, my freshman year we went there twice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I understand. Trust
me. Crazy environment. We lost twice, but man.
Yeah.
Crazy environment, man. I don't know. The last time we went up there, it's crazy environment, always loud.
Was that the first WAC championship game?
Oh, he's gonna get that in there. Go ahead.
And
the second one.
19.
Yeah, that's the one that Javen Morrison had the kickoff return, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That was a huge play in the game. Yeah.
I tell you what, Charles, I was ready to fight after the game. I mean, I was just ready to grab somebody. But hey, Alcorn was the best team on those two times. But guess what, Kris? You've given it back to him the last two times you played. So.
Oh, yeah. Sir.
Well, we appreciate the time, Kris. Best of luck, fall camp this 2023 season. And as they always say, go Jags.
Go Jags.
Thank you, sir. That was Kris Davis, cornerback. And our next guest, and let me pull it up, Gerald Huggins. He has a outstanding bio. And then we'll go to a timeout. But I'm going to pull it up, Charles. Here's some of the things that he's done. And I actually found out about him through the Twitter space that they have. Dr. Cavill, A.D. Drew, a lot of them participate in it, B.J. Jones. But he was a writer for HBCU Game Day, Redskin Wire, and Panther Wire. Coached high school football in New York City from 2021 to 2022. Defensive line skills trainer and a talent evaluator for draft HBCU players. And Kris Davis is one of the guys that I saw the information they put out by HBCU, draft HBCU players. Also, quickly, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. That is interesting, Charles. I've never been to Brooklyn or New York. And Transferred to Virginia Union in 2012, played 3 years at Virginia Union, started one, played defensive line and special teams. So he knows how to evaluate talent. So we're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, Gerald J Huggins Jr. joins us for the first time on the Carlos Brown Show. Charles, I don't know if I should call him coach. I'll decide during the break.
Yeah.
We'll be back. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Okay, Pat. Okay, I'll call you immediately after the show. Got a text message from Pat Riley. I guess there's some big news coming on. I guess he wants to share with me about my Miami Heat.
Well,
interesting.
I'm glad you brought that up, Carlos, because it's, free agency. You see the moving pieces. Hey, Bradley Beal goes to Phoenix. Dame Lillard says he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. But then he also said, I read a report this morning, he doesn't want to be a part of a team that's got 2 or 3 stars on it. So I don't know what Dame Lillard wants to do. I think Dame Lillard to Miami makes sense. You hear Philadelphia in the mix. You said at the last hour, Brooklyn. That's kind of a stretch for me. I think either Philly or Miami. But if the Heat strike out on Dame Lillard, considering what they've already lost, what's the Heat team going to look like now?
Don't worry about it. I will have that team ready. you don't worry about it. And Pat Riley, he's who he is. He's going to get it ready. Speaking of getting ready, let's go to our next guest. Oh boy, Gerald J Huggins Jr. joining the show. There he is.
What's going on?
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the Carlos Brown Show.
Good to be here, man. How y'all doing?
We're doing fine. I just got to keep Charles from stop trying to be messy here with my Miami Heat, my NBA team. By the way, Gerald, do you have a NBA team?
Yeah, I root for my Knicks and my Nets, and then I am a Magic fan. Believe it or not, I've been rocking with the Magic since 2001. I was playing NBA Live, and I just like, oh man, like I love this. And I became a Magic fan, and we had a really good run. We've been slowly trying to get back, but I think yes. I see. Oh, I can see the comments. Oh yeah, Magic. I'm a Magic fan from Brooklyn. Yeah.
Oh, somebody say, man, hey, believe it or not, when Shaq was there, I was an Orlando Magic fan. Then when he went to the Lakers, I was a Lakers fan.
And then he went to the Heat, so you were happy.
But I stayed at the Heat. And I really did. So, Charles, I'll share with you what Pat says a little bit later. But Gerald, boy, you've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I mean, that is great. Look, I'm looking at the bio again. I mentioned a writer for HBCU Game Day, but I also saw on here somewhere. Let's see. ESPN?
Yeah, that was right out of college. Yeah. So I worked with the my senior year, well, my super senior year, I worked with ESPN. I didn't work at ESPN. I was working with the Commanders. Well, they used to be called the Redskins. I used to work with the Commanders, and I was also an undergraduate assistant defensive line coach at Virginia Union. So I would travel back and forward between Washington and Richmond just to get my internship stuff. I knew I wasn't going professional, so I was like, okay. Throughout college, I always had internships during the summer before I went back to school for workouts and stuff like that. So I had a pretty good resume coming out of college as an athlete. So that's one thing I always advocate for guys. If you can, man, get some internship skills, get some jobs under your belt. Boost up your resume because you never know what's going to happen. So yeah, that was good. And then at the ESPN, I don't think I told you, I went to Clark Atlanta University as well for my master's.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was another thing I did as well.
And your undergrad, Virginia Union?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Virginia Union.
Know a little bit about Virginia Union, although I'm in a deep South. But impressive and a talent evaluator for draft HBCU players. Talk about that because everything is impressive, but that one that stuck out to me because this is a guy, me and you, that can evaluate talent, and let's talk about that. Draft HBCU.
So it was started by two gentlemen, one from Virginia State and one from Morgan State, Malik Obi and Tim. So those two guys started draft HBCU players. I used to see them tweet, just tweet it every now and again, like draft HBCU players. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I never really, did too much with it. I was like, okay, that's cool. I was working with HBCU Game Day. I was working, I was in grad school. I was just focused on my grad school was tough. I'm not gonna lie, toughest 2 years, one of the toughest 2 years of my life. But that was my focus at the time. I love football, but I had to take a step away. It's just, sometimes I played since I was 6 years old, and I stopped abruptly pretty much at 21. So I just needed a break. So I took some time for football, but I just kept seeing that. Draft HBCU players. And I'm like, okay, this is all right, I got to talk to him. So I was just talking to the guy named Malik. And I just said, hey, man, anything I could do to help, this, that, and the third, whatever you need, I'm here to help. And then my dad went to Morgan State. He's a Hall of Fame linebacker at Morgan State. So me and him connected off of that. He went to Morgan State as well. And we just hit the ground running. That's why I love this class this year, because this is like the first class. I remember them when they were young. Like I started working with a Draft HBCU in 2021. So this is 2 years ago, almost 3 seasons ago. Guys, so I know a lot of these guys like the back of my hand. So this is my favorite class. Like this class right here. I mean, last year's class was fun. Don't get me wrong, love those guys too. But this class here is special. A lot of these guys, they've been at HBCUs for 4+ years. A lot of these guys have a lot of accolades. A lot of people are looking at these guys. A lot of growth I've seen from these guys. And what we do, I mean, full transparency, I don't think people really understand how impactful draft HBCU players is for the players that we cover. I mean, we worked with the Aeneas Williams Award that just came out last year. Khalil Baker, he ended up getting that award. So they reached out to us and asked us, assist them with, selecting who will win the inaugural, Aeneas Williams Award for the best FCS HBCU defensive back. And so we did that, and we worked with the Shrine Bowl. We partnered with the Shrine Bowl. We have 4 guys in the Shrine Bowl. All those guys ended up on training camp rosters except for one. And for the most part, man, we are pretty much we're in contact with people that make a lot. Just call a spade. We're in contact with people that make decisions that are critical to our guys.
A lot of decisions.
So, I guess it's just me, just a little off topic. This is just from a personal side. I feel like the universities don't really, they know about us, but they don't know about us. And it's like there's an opportunity there that I always want to highlight, that if all the HBCU football programs would just, look and like come see and into us, this could be something big and we could really help each other out. But I'm a New Yorker, so we hustle. So this is what I'm gonna do. And I love to do it. Our guys need the reports because, call a spade. Some people don't want to go scout a guy in Alcorn. Some people don't want to go scout a guy. Some people don't want to go to Delaware State. But we don't mind. So, and I'll do it. All I have to do is I ask the coach for film. Say, hey, coach, I'm going to draft HBCU players. I just want to break down your players, scout them, and market them properly. And for the most part, it's good reception. I know Coach Dooley definitely responds. Kind of hard getting in contact with Alcorn State. I don't know. Phones don't work for me. Maybe because it's from a Brooklyn number. I don't know if y'all
work on that, Charles.
I will.
But trust me, it's all love for Alcorn. Alcorn has a player that I really like that we'll get into, I'm sure. But yeah, for the most part, they send film. They love what we do. I just wanted to take another step. So I just want to get that out the way before we continue.
Well, I appreciate it, Charles. And, you're looking at communications between draft HBCU players and Gerald Huggins and the whole team over there. It could be a great win-win situation as far as with, the HBCUs and helping each other. So hopefully it will continue that communication to get better. Now Gerald, can I call you coach or should I just call you?
You call me Gerald.
Okay. Okay, Gerald. This upcoming class that you're going to somebody says the phone doesn't work after 6 p.m. at Alcorn. Okay. Adrian, now come on, Adrian.
Respect.
Well, I know Coach McNair is real busy. He's kind of like a quiet person.
He seems like it.
I've gotten a chance to talk with him, and I was almost shocked. He opened up very well at Swag Media Day. But anyway, back to draft HBCU players in the upcoming draft. Who are some players that you can highlight for us right now that will hopefully have a great chance to make it to the next level?
Well, so far, this is just preliminary. This is just my spring and summer scouting. But as of right now, I have 2 guys that I will say have a legitimate draft grade on them. That's Aneem Dankwa, 6'8", 360-pound, offensive tackle, left tackle, can play guard as well, can play right tackle for Howard University. And I also have someone that I'm pretty sure y'all know very well, Sundiata Anderson, the edge rusher from Grambling State. He's all 6'5" with arms, as my mom would say, your arms so long you can scratch your knees standing up.
Length.
Yeah, he has arm length. He has explosiveness off the line. He's working really hard on getting some more counter moves. He has to work on some strength things, but the bend at that size, to be able to twitch, the motor. I mean, he's a guy that's going to chase the ball 40 yards down the field and stay on the field, and next play he'll get a tackle for loss. That's what you like to see. But I'm learning more as I learn. I have some mentors in the scouting realm, and I want people to understand, definitely for HBCU people, because I know last year was very disappointing for some.
Yeah.
For most, even for me, because I'm still learning. But then when I really learn how they view things and how they view players in general, definitely from lower levels, it's like, okay, traits and athleticism, overproduction for the most part. It's like, okay, like Isaiah Bolden for Jackson State got drafted. Why? He wasn't the most productive player on Jackson State, and he wasn't the best defensive back in the SWAC or Black college football. However, he is a 6'2", 200-pound nickel corner that can also return the ball and a 40-inch vert, 4.3 40, freak athlete. So they're going to be like, okay, well, listen, he's versatile, he's athletic, he could fit my scheme, and he's with the Patriots, so they love versatile people in the Patriots. That's their thing. You have to be able to do multiple things play for the Patriots, so on the defense side of the ball. So. And I just want to put one more. Oh, so yeah, someone did mention that. So I always want to put this out there. I don't want to make this a big thing. It's not really a big thing, but it definitely helps when you're an FBS transfer. They usually give those guys a little more,
of course,
attention, even if they don't produce as much. But it's that, hey, if you had reps at an FBS school and you moved down, like James Houston, if you do move that, if you have FBS reps and then you move down, but he dominated. So even though he didn't have the prototypical size of an edge rusher at 6'1", he had 81-inch arms, which is that's long arms for someone 6'1". So, yeah. And he was 230 pounds, and he had bend. Like his bend was, as you can see, the bend translated, the twitchiness translated, the versatility translated when he got to the NFL. So that's what they want to see. And when you look at Aneem Dankwa, you have a guy that's 6'8", a fluid mover at offensive tackle. Now, he has some leverage issues, clearly, because he's 6'8". But once he gets his hands on you and he runs his feet, chances are there's nothing you could do. He has a really smooth kick step. His jump set is vicious because when he gets the long arms and he punches out on you, it'll stifle you at the top of your rush. He's pretty solid with his combination blocking. He doesn't go upfield too often. I saw him when the first time I saw him in person, I was like, yo, this kid is all 6'8", 360. But he's not a fat looking kid. He's solid. He told me the other day he put up 28 bench reps with those long arms and size. That's solid for someone with long arms. They usually try to give him a little leeway if you have long arms, but if you're putting up 30 plus, which he will, and he's a squatter, and he has versatility across the line of scrimmage too, and he's smooth, big hands, big strong hands. They like that. They're gonna give him a shot because they're like, listen, I can work with 6'8", 360 that's athletic. But if you have a 6'3" offensive tackle, that's some athleticism, even though he might be, he might have produced very well in college. It's just like, okay, where do I put you? Sometimes being too versatile could be a problem, but I love versatility. So, but I leave my personal feelings out of my scouting. It's just like, what do I see? This is what so I don't want anybody to be like, there's only 2 guys that have a grade. Well, yeah, 2 guys have a grade, which is not bad considering we had 1 guy drafted last year. So this is just preliminary. Now, when the season starts and we start seeing people we playing, and we have a lot of our guys that I have in this little booklet I have right here. So my lovely girlfriend made a booklet for me to put all my scouting notes in. So I always want to shout out her. She keeps me in order because I have stuff all over the place.
That's smart. Look, that's smart because if mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
So listen, once wifey said, "Hey, listen, this is my birthday. This is like a birthday gift too." I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." So I have all my notes in here. So I have 2 pages. I have 1 page for the 2022 notes, another for the 2023 notes. So 2021 stuff I already have, and another book that I'm still trying to look for. It's somewhere in this room. But there's some guys that's on the fringe. But if there are any guys in particular you maybe, let's see.
How about Howard at Alcorn?
Okay, let's see. Howard and
running back.
Howard had. Oh yeah. He's my running back one. Well, in FCS anyway, the best running back in Black college football is Jada Byers from Virginia Union. Just putting that out there. But the next best running back and the best running back in the FCS is Jared Hunter. Jared Hunter, about 5'10". When they put 5'11" on the website, I usually knock us inch down because you know how that goes. So I'm gonna say about 5'10", solid 205. Man, let's see, where do I start? He's very agile. He's probably not gonna run you over. He may be able to grind out some extra yardage after contact. It's possible, but he likes to make you miss. He has the quickness and he has the acceleration to bounce out the gap and hit the sideline and turn into a big gain as well, which he has done. I think he had his longest was 79. He has good acceleration. I think he has pretty above average speed. I think he'll hit about 4.49, 4.5-ish, which is not bad, but he's a shuttle guy. He's a quicker guy. He's lateral, he's twitchy. And for his stature, he's still pretty solid in the pass game as a pass protector. He has a good feel for where the blitz is coming from, and then if the offensive lineman misses, he knows who to get when to get him. He may have some slight lapses in there, just due to sheer size, and when you have a really, there's always that one linebacker that's what they thrive in. We just want to run straight forward as fast as we can and hit whoever they see. He may struggle with that guy sometimes, but he has really solid form when it comes to it. He has really solid balance when it comes to his pass blocking. And out the backfield, he's the best receiving back in HBCU football. He actually might be one of the best in the country. Yeah, he could run he could run. I think he could run the route tree. I foresee with the new offensive coordinator, don't be surprised if we line him up in the slot sometimes. Just give him some versatility because linebackers can't cover him one-on-one.
Well, that's interesting. That just reminds me of Quarles, who was for Alabama A&M, now at Southern, and they got him listed as like running back and slot.
Quarles he was one of my favorites. I remember when I first started watching him. He's another one. Like if Jared Hunter is the best receiving back, then Quarles is definitely top 3, 4, probably 3, top 5. I like the kid from North Carolina Central as well as a receiving back. He's more of a screen guy. He's probably not going to do too many routes, but it's not part of their offense. But with Jared Hunter, he's running seams. He's running wheels. You might catch him run a hitch, slant, something other arrow route, angle. It's just he could do it all. So I hope they continue to use his versatility. Now, let's say they have the best running back room in HBCU football. They have Wheeler, him, and Eden James. All three of them could be a starting running back on any other HBCU program, any FCS program, my personal opinion. And they all kind of have similar traits. They could pretty much catch out the backfield. I think Wheeler is Wheeler is a tougher runner, but people need to understand Eden James runs behind his pass too. He's young. Maybe it's because he don't know any better, or maybe that's just how he played, but he will run you over if you let him. He didn't get many opportunities to catch out the backfield, but he can. So those are, for running back wise anyway, I'll just continue since we're talking about Alcorn. Let's go to my boy Howard. Howard is actually more shifty than I expected when I really started watching this tape. He could bounce out the gap. He does have some lateral quickness as well. But he's a bell cow. I don't know if that was by I don't know if they should. Duffy just kind of, I just want those. Duffy was like, okay, I was just wondering where. I just felt like that would have been a way better tandem than just like feeding Howard. And then eventually people were like, well, you're going to put 15 in a box. Good luck. Because I'm just like, we're not going to lose to Howard. Like, we're not going to let Howard be the one. Now, granted, he still did a very good job of finding seams, which he's good at. He's very patient. There are times where, he may get a little antsy and just see, if he sees the gap, he might not try and work for too much extra yardage. But when he's able to see, when his offensive line is able to get that movement, I think they had, Michael Moment's not there anymore, but they had the kid Reed, really big kid, Deontay Reed. He's huge. I don't know. He looked 380 pounds. That boy looks huge, but he's able to move people. So once Howard has that he has vision, he's able to move and he can able to see and he can bounce outside. He will do it. Solid speed. He'll probably give you about 4.5. he's another one FBS guy, that went down, and what we like to see from
Syracuse.
We want to exactly see now. Syracuse this year, that's another thing about Syracuse. Like, we have all this talent in New York, and they went all the way to where's Jarvion Howard from? He's from deep. I think he's deep. Another deep South kid. If I'm not mistaken.
He's from Mississippi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Syracuse recruiting in Mississippi, which is fine because Mississippi ain't recruiting in New York. But that's so Jarvion Howard, I like him. Like, I think if he was given more opportunity, to catch the ball at the backfield, I feel like he could be very dynamic. It's just not it's just not in the game plan. But I think being able to get him out in space, or just giving those touches to Duffy's still there, if I'm not mistaken, correct? This should be a top 5 running back room in HBCU football. I'm not saying we could get Jarvion Howard to 1,000 yards, but let's probably do it let's not do it close to 300 carries. Let's try to get that, maybe give him 150 carries, and then let's get Duffy about 65, but give him about 30 touches through the air. Maybe get Jarvion a couple 10 to 20 targets. Just mix it up. You gotta help the quarterback out a little bit.
Well, to your point, that's exactly what Fred McNair, if one thing he would redo from this past season, Jarvion Howard, and he told me this on one of his shows, Jarvion Howard had way too many carries. Way too many carries. He admitted that. And so, to your point, you are exactly right about that. And he was the bell cow. Definitely, when you almost rushed for 300 yards against Stephen F. in that first game, you definitely will be that. I have a question for you as far as from a fan's perspective. We always talk about getting more players drafted, and you have the pro day, and now you got the Legacy Bowl. What's the misconception from a fan's perspective when a fan has an idea of a player like this guy is pretty good for whatever team, whether MEAC, SWAC, why didn't his name get called, or why weren't the opportunities there? What's kind of the misconception that, for me and maybe other fans just aren't seeing? You talk about the time, you talk about the reps, the 4-3, the 4-4, whatever it is. What are we as fans missing in terms of why we think players should get drafted but don't? What are we missing here?
So let me start with a thing that my personal gripe. The scheduling has to be, I don't know, maybe there's more ins and outs to the scheduling, but the scheduling has to be attractive to the players, and it has to be attractive to the scouts. It's like, listen, Southern played against LSU last year. Now, granted, it might have been 2 players on the team that had games that were worthy of okay, he can hang with LSU. The other players, they just showed that, oh wow, this is who you're gonna go against the next level, for the most part. So that's my first thing. So how the MEAC, due to the numbers, they have the ability to have better out of conference scheduling. So they usually have an FBS opponent every year. South Carolina State has made a great thing where they're going to play someone in South Carolina for the most part. Well, at least since I've been watching, they're going to play Clemson or South Carolina every year, or they're going to play a UCF. They're going to play some school, some FBS program every year. And you know what happens? They have a player that dominates in the game. That's when you have a Darius Leonard. That's when you have a Thomas. So South Carolina State had a 6-year run where they had a defensive player of the year in the MEAC, which is, and those guys all went to the NFL. So that's my first thing. Scheduling matters. So yes, I know, I'm not even going to do that because that fan base, I just don't need that today.
Go ahead, because somebody in the chat room, they mentioned something about don't include A&T as an HBCU where they can all start. Watch us work.
I have to include A&T because it's just I listen. I'm a MEAC guy, but I'm a CIAA too. But clearly, people that know those are connected. So I am a CIAA MEAC guy, but I've always had love for Grambling because my dad used to tell me stories about how he played Grambling. So all that to tie in to say, I love all my HBCU programs. I'm just going to be honest when I say it. If you're not playing top tier talent on your schedule, it's going to be hard. Now, granted, and that's my biggest thing with JSU scheduling. I just really wanted to see them go against a top team, just FBS opponent. And I mean, I know they went to what was that, ULM?
Well, yeah,
Louisiana
ULM.
Monroe. Yeah.
And they could have won that game.
They should have won that game.
Should have, yeah.
And that's my thing. Like, you want to see our top guys go against top guys. That's why getting into the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, CGS Bowl, Hula Bowl, those bowls, and NFLPA Bowl, that's why it's important. That's why we have to continue to make sure our guys are being put out there to say, hey, listen, you need to have them on your list. Just look them. Just check them out. You never know what's going to happen. And listen, it works out. So basically, the scheduling thing is tough. And then, honestly, some kids are just – they don't have the prototype and the athleticism that teams want. Some teams have this criteria that they have for their players that they want. Some literally want a 6'3" plus 250-pound plus defensive end. And if you don't fit that particular size requirement, sometimes it just might not be a good fit. Sometimes they just know they could get a good HBCU player later on. I mean, it's a lot of things that go into it. But I think mostly it's just traits, and it's the traits and athleticism that kind of just sets a lot of our guys back. A lot of our guys are really solid players for college football, but that doesn't make them a good professional prospect. And I think they just need to be – some people just need to be okay with it. You know, some people just need to be honest with their process and just be thankful that they were able to play. I mean, they play in Division I football for the most part, which is big because everybody can't do it. Only 6% of high school athletes go to play college football in general. So you should just be happy, you know what I mean, and work hard and just be at home with your process and just enjoy being a college athlete, because sometimes, you know, it may not be for you. And that's not a slight. It's just that, hey, listen, we just don't have we don't have 100 professional prospects in the HBCU football realm, but we do have legit 20. Now, there out of those 20 plus, some are overlooked, and that's what I'm for. That's what Malik is for. That's what y'all guys are for. That's what we're all here for. We're here to pump our guys. So I just think good football players in college don't always translate into being good football players in pros. You see the trend now. Look at what happened with Richardson that just got drafted. His production was very minuscule to say the least, but they have traits. He had traits. He's an athlete. He has an arm. They call it he can make NFL throws. They just feel like it's some mechanical issues that he has. So they feel like they can fix him. That's why I believe Davius Richard has a shot. Because he's very similar. You know, he might not be the athlete per se, but he's definitely the running threat that he is. And he has a solid throwing motion. It's just that certain mechanical things mess up his accuracy on intermediate and short throws. But it's there. You know, he has the leadership ability. When he was down at JSU in that Celebration Bowl, he ain't look. He just all right. Let's go play. That's what you want to see from your quarterback. When they were down at Campbell, he was like, all right, let's play. You know, I mean, there were some games where it was tough, but he kept that cool demeanor. When they played Tennessee Tech, in that last drive, they had to win the game. He just showed up. So those things you like to see. That's why I like. So that's why I like Richard is on the fringe for me right now. It's just the accuracy and the throwing, the mechanics just kind of like take him from like maybe a 6th, 7th to like a preferred free agent, which is not, you know, it's literally like 3-round difference. You know,
but
6th, 7th.
But is that something if drafted that can be worked on, or he can, you know, work on that going into this upcoming season? And also, listening to you, I'm thinking about Akil Glass.
Yes.
Coming out of, I mean, to me, you're the scout, but he pushed all of the bells and whistles as far as from a physical standpoint and an IQ. And I was kind of shocked that he, you know, didn't even in the late round. But your thoughts on that?
I think it's funny. We're transitioning to, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. And I know before Cam Newton, you know, I'm pretty sure y'all know the Randall Cunningham days, the Cordell Stewart days, and even before that, you know, we've shunned the mobile quarterback. And now if you're not mobile, nobody even looking your way.
Yeah.
That's just the way. And Glass was, for lack of a better term, he was kind of a statue in the pocket. That's just, but granted, it worked for him. You could argue he's one of the top 10 greatest HBCU quarterbacks that ever played.
Because he can make all the throws.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm going to say it. I don't know who wouldn't have him in the top 10, but that's fine. That's what arguments are for. Everybody can make a list. But he was we all loved him. I love watching him play. He's in the USFL right now. He's still, I mean, he has some mechanical things he could work on too, but he could make all the throws. But, it's just sometimes, that pressure made him got him off balance, and, being able to make off-platform throws, which is another thing that people love to do now. Like, that's a big thing. Being able to throw off-platform. It's the Mahomes effect. But before Mahomes, it was so many other quarterbacks threw off-platform. I think when I first started watching football, the guy named, y'all know, Fran Tarkenton. So that was like the king of off-platform throwing, So when you look at the off-platform throws, that was a big thing as well. So you need to be able to make throws off-platform, and you have to be able to make those within structure. You got to have the leadership qualities, and you just got to be. Your accuracy has to be. I'm not saying it has to be flawless. Drew Brees 70+%, which is, that's pretty rare anyway. That's hard. Like 70+% consistently through the air, completion percentage, and also some completion percentage stats are a little skewed. It's not really because. Look at, like, I know Davis Richard, his adjusted completion percentage was almost 10% due to the fact they had 20 drops last year from his receivers. So, it's a lot of things but do you throw a throwable ball? Do you throw a catchable ball? So that's what they really want to see. Is it catchable? Now, if you're sailing it over the head or it's in the dirt consistently, then you just don't have the accuracy. Richard he's throwing catchable balls. It's just sometimes they may be a little inaccurate just due to honestly for me, just bringing the hip with his throws more. That's all. Because he's strong. He's throwing a lot of that with upper body, similar to what Cam Newton used to do, all upper body. But when he brings his hips into his throws, as you can see, he's that first throw in the Celebration Bowl. He can do that consistently. That was a dart on the line, on a rope, and landed right in the spot, right in the basket. So, I know you said Howard. Anybody else from Howard? I like. I'm a big fan of Quentin Williams, even though everybody says the same thing. It's like when he's on, but he makes that one throw, you just like, all right, Q, all right. But he knows it too. I talked to him when I went up there to watch the spring practice. He knows what he's up against. He knows what he's up against. He's in the same conference as where people were pretty much just saying, listen, Richard's gonna run the table again. He's in the same conference as him, Oh, well, sorry. I'm gonna get to that Southern one, then I'm gonna talk.
Yeah, because we have about 5 minutes, and we have to wrap up this segment. But
you're fine.
We're gonna get you back. Yeah, I see the comments. Does Southern have any NFL?
So I'm gonna say for this year, I'm not sure about. I don't know. Does Jordan Carter have another year?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if he's a senior. He may be. Okay.
Well, I feel like he doesn't have. I feel like he has another year. So I have him as 25, but I'll have to look again. He might be 24. So I've been working on the 24.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I've been working on the 24 kids. But I will say, y'all had him on the show earlier.
Kris Davis.
I love that kid show. All 6'2" plus. Oh, Jordan Carter has another year? Perfect. So that just makes this defensive secondary look even better. They have another kid from Bowie that transferred in. He didn't play last year because he got hurt.
Yeah.
So Southern's, they're fine in the back end. I'm not worried about Southern in the back end. So I believe y'all still have Givens, correct? Please tell me. Oh, okay.
He'll be a sophomore.
Oh, yeah, we cooking with grease. All right, so y'all good. Y'all gonna be But Kris Davis, he's my I like tall corners. Maybe it's a bias. I just when he's like 6'2", about wiry, kind of 185, 190 build, similar to the kid that got drafted out of Fayetteville State.
Yeah.
Very similar. What they like to see from them tall guys: are you twitchy? Can you move? Can you mirror and match in man coverage? Are you fluid in zone coverage? Do you have good eyes? Can you recognize route combinations? Can you tackle? How are you against the run? Now he's not. From the tape I've seen, he doesn't seem like he takes a lot of business decisions, and I love that. Because too many corners they just can't tackle. Some don't want to, some can't. He can tackle. He'll miss occasional few, but that's the DBs miss tackles. I don't know many DBs that don't miss tackles, but for the most part, he's in phase. He has good recovery speed. He has a long stride, but I love his twitch. I love his lateral quickness. And I actually posted a video of him guarding this receiver from FAMU, and he was just able to mirror him, and then he was able to break. Like, he does that consistently. Now, sometimes he'll bite a little bit, get caught, give him a little bit of inside, but like I said, every DB. I love DBs, but I like to talk trash about DBs because I'm a defensive lineman. Because it's like, man, I'm trying to get here, and y'all can't just give me one extra second. So I always have that love-hate for DBs. But DB's going to get beat. But it's like, after you get beat, what are you going to do the next play? So that's a big thing. So I like Kris Davis a lot. He's like my favorite player on Southern right now. And then, of course, Quarles, he was my favorite running back in 2021. So that doesn't just go away. So Southern definitely has some good talent. Selfishly, I would love to see Noah start because he's from New York City. But what can you do? And I want to give a shout out to Coach Dooley because he's been very good with communication. If I really need him, I say, Coach, I need some film. Like, I got you. I need anything. So I want to just shout out Coach Dooley for that because it means a lot. Because he don't have to answer the call. Like draft HBCU, he answers the call. So outside of that, we have some good players. I'll wrap it up. We have some good players. We have a lot of guys that play in FBS schools this year. I dropped an article about that, so you can check us out on drafthbcuplayers.com in our blog. I have an app. We play some good teams this year, and a lot of guys that's on the fringe of being an NFL roster prospect or a second-tier league. Maybe they can make their money. Just go Grambling. You got LSU, Central. Y'all got UCLA, and UCLA is a beatable team. They have a really stacked defensive line, but it's a beatable team. If you watch the Alabama State film, you would understand that. Alabama State, they gave UCLA everything they could ask for. It just got a little messy towards it. And that's how most of our games go, honestly. We start off well. It's just that them halftime adjustments, man, we get a little beat to sleep with the halftime adjustments. But I appreciate coming on, man. This is great. You have me anytime.
I will invite you again pretty soon. And with football season coming up as well, we will love to network with you. Appreciate the time.
Yes.
We'll have you on again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man. You have a good rest of your day, okay?
All right. Thank you. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, it'll be more of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
When you're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show, right here on the Black College Sports Network. Had a chance to visit with Lee Batrus, Executive Director of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Professionals Association earlier, of course, of the HBCU Swingman Classic and the Youth Development Foundation. Here is some of that conversation between Gene, myself, and Charles. Network. We're going to talk with Lee Batrus, Executive Director of Major League Baseball Players Association and Youth Developmental Foundation. Coming up, there's Miss Lee Batrus. Good afternoon, Miss Batrus, and welcome to the Carlos Brown Show.
Hello, Carlos. How are you doing?
Doing fine here on a Friday afternoon, the last day of June. Gene, let's get right into it. What inspired the initiative between Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Players Association Youth Development Foundation to create the inaugural HBCU Swingman Baseball Classic?
I always love this question. 2 years ago, our global ambassador of the Youth Development Foundation, Ken Griffey Jr., was speaking to myself, Major League Baseball, and the Players Association about a concept of elevating HBCU players on a national platform. And, Junior is a very passionate person in this area of helping kids, right? And that's why he's our ambassador. But he was in a special position to witness his father giving so much back to this wonderful game, being a kid in the dugouts, on the field. And as you know, he was such a successful player himself, and it's his time to give back. And recognizing how expensive it is to access the game, needing to have more underrepresentation in the game, there was, a great calling and need to say, we need to have this HBCU Swingman Classic named after him. And what a better place than to have it at the All-Star Week.
Who are some of the people who have helped putting this event together, besides Ken Griffey Jr.?
Well, it's a lot of hard work and sweat, but it's the Youth Development Foundation under my leadership, Major League Baseball, my colleagues there, and the Players Association, which is the union side. This is truly a co-operated initiative, and it's housed under the Youth Development Foundation. So we have scouts involved, really wonderful people you'll see on the field, such as, Hall of Famer Andre Dawson, who, as you know, came from an HBCU, Golden Spikes winner, Ricky Weeks, Vince Coleman, Marquise Grissom. I mean, it's a fantastic list. But a lot of people had their hands in this to make this dream come true.
Charles?
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on with us. That's a very nice backdrop, by the way, the HBCU Classic backdrop. I really, really like that backdrop. Need to get a copy of that down the road. For the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and we talk about it on this show often, one of the things we start with is the softball tournament, where it has taken off by leaps and bounds. And of course, you deal with the baseball side of it. Talk a little bit about that and just the development of these players in terms of how the Classic and how this helps development for baseball players as well as the sport of softball.
Well, the Youth Development Foundation is about baseball and softball. When I came in as the first executive director to build this up for the entire industry, and that's very unique compared to the other professional leagues, you don't see this type of partnership. And it's because both sides care so much about the kids and developing this game and keeping it alive. So Youth Development Foundation has given out more than $25.1 million in the past few years. impact over 40 states and, through 270 grants and counting. But this game specifically is going to raise the profile of these young men, and to really showcase that HBCU schools have strong baseball programs. And too often we see scouts that are bypassing and not recognizing the talent. But we already know. I mean, I named some of the greatest of the greats, right? And they made it to Major League Baseball. So if a kid is tuning in on July 7th to watch these players under the lights, and, Junior's going to be in both dugouts, coaching the kids, having a few laughs, working out with them. It's going to inspire other people who look like these players and say, you know what, I can do it too. I want to be one of these 50 players and also make it to the All-Star game. And I love to work with these coaches. And I think that can be translated to softball as well. Both sports are very important to us.
We talk on this show often, and it's been talked about through social media, through our fan base, not only in the SWAC, but HBCUs, about trying to get or elevate players to the next level, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the NBA, or even in Major League Baseball. So, just talk about that aspect of it, because we cover these teams, we cover these young men and women, and we talk to them, we interview them. We know they want to get to the next level. They want to have the opportunity. So talk about how that opens up so many more doors and avenues to be showcased, just like this event, and to continue that, to build on that.
That's a really great question you have, Charles, and it's why we exist. Our mission is to increase access, both recreationally and through elite development play. So aside from this showcase game, you might have heard of the Hank Aaron Invitational, where we have 250 young men. But if you look at our track record, right, we've had like over 40 alum playing in professional baseball, more than 900 retained in this game at some level, whether it's collegiate or beyond. And this HBCU Swingman Classic, it was always the dream of Junior and myself to make it more than just baseball. And this game, you can learn so much on the field, but also off the field. So that coach can be a mentor. And so we have 3 days of activities planned where these young men are going to, attend a coaches and leadership panel. They'll be speaking to the chairman of the Mariners, learning about career opportunities, leadership, giving back, doing some of their own volunteer work at Play Ball Park. And we know that not all these players will make it into the MLB draft. We're very hopeful that we're going to get some of them in, and we know we will, because this is returning to every All-Star week. So that's a wonderful thing. But if we can explain that there's other opportunities to stay in our industry in the front of the house, right? Become a scout, a manager, analytics, that's a huge area in our team. Right. What I do, I'm in the position of like league economics and, there's labor relations, lots of interesting careers. So you have to give exposure to young people. And if they can't see and understand what it is, they probably aren't going to tap into it. So this is a educational, leadership, and philanthropic event for us.
That's very interesting, Gene, because we talk about talent on the field, playing field, but you're actually, you and the organization are talking about bringing the talent also off the field and the many opportunities you have to get in Major League Baseball, and probably can carry that over to any other business, correct?
Absolutely. And that's why we just had an announcement today. So T-Mobile is our presenting sponsor. We have Nike and Chevy involved. But, T-Mobile, as an example, we're having a winter summit where all these young men are invited back to Seattle in the winter of 2024. And that's so they can have exposure to the company and see the different types of careers and meet with HBCU alums that are currently working at the company. So building these bridges are just as important as allowing these guys to play at the highest level, showcasing their talent, and mentoring them, giving them a leg forward. So really, really exciting. And it's been such a pleasure to talk to some of these young men in advance of the game.
We're visiting with Gene Lee. A little bit of the interview with Gene Lee Batrus, Executive Director of Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Players Association and Youth Development Foundation. Of course, they're putting together the HBCU Swingman Baseball Classic, and that's coming up July 7th in conjunction with Major League Baseball All-Star game. It's going to be in Seattle, and of course, she mentioned about Ricky Weeks, Andre Dawson. They're going to be participating in the game, and this is an opportunity to showcase HBCU baseball and those players' talents, but also it was important that she mentioned about also business opportunities and networking. There are careers that college graduates can get into as far as on the financial part and the business part of sports. With that being said, Charles, we've got a little bit over a minute left to wrap up this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show. Quickly, closing comments for you, Charles.
Hey, I thought it was a really good show today. Got a chance to cover a lot of stuff in terms of, about our players in football getting drafted or not getting drafted, what's going to be the key. That's gotten conversation in the chat room. Quickly, as far as baseball, I had a chance to participate a few years ago I think it was in Montgomery, Minority Baseball Prospects. And one of the guys talked about the opportunities off the field. And he was mentioning that the guy that cuts the grass at some of these ballparks makes $300,000 a year. That's just an opportunity. Yeah, the head grounds crew for whatever Yankee Stadium, whatever it is. So it's just, that's just another opportunity as off the field as well as trying to get stuff done on the field. So there are a lot of opportunities out there.
Well said. Next week's show, we're going to have a couple of special guests. One is going to be a very special guest. And a clue about that will be there was a commitment from the number one player on the JUCO level, tight end. He committed to Southern University. Reached out to him. Also, Dylan Malhotra, transfer quarterback for Southern University, came from UAB. He'll join us next week as well. And then I'm trying to get one of those offensive linemen, Charles. They need more credit. I'll try to get one of the offensive linemen. Also, Dr. Kenyatta Cavill, he'll join us next week. And also Coach Van Pettaway. I got to get – okay, Pat, I'm about to call you. I've got to get into this NBA. It's 3 teams, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and Miami, going after Damon Lillard. I want to thank all of the guests, Charles Edmond, Willie Totten, Kris Davis, Gerald J Huggins, Gene Lee Batrus, and, of course, Melody, who is probably ready to pull my hair out for producing today's show. She's back with us, and we appreciate her. Until next Saturday, that's a little too early, Charles. At 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Until next time, as always, peace and God bless. Go Jags. Since Charles is going to do the chop, I'm doing Go Jags.